Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. I would also like to give a double honors to the beloved elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom. Hey, shalom, beloved Akim and Akwaf. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit, power, mercy, and grace of our power, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to bring forth a brief live stream, mainly to exhort through the spirit. Abaratazah, it's edifying to you, beloved Akim and Akwaf. As as we continue to embark, on salvation, things are going to continue to get more rocky. Things are going to become unfair. We're going to get blamed along the way. As Yahweh Shai was numbered with the transgressors, so will we be. We're in a position where, we've been given this grace period, to try to do the best we can for Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, to try to get on his good terms with him. Only the elect will be, in good standings with Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, regardless of what they do, being that they're predestinated spirits to be delivered in these latter days, but they will uphold righteousness. They'll walk a path that's straight, and there'll be times where they do fall. All right. And that's all part of the process of salvation. The end game is to finish. All right. Lord willing, we are of the elect and ultimately have that favor. Okay. The Lord's favor, rest upon us, man. Because ultimately that favor, what that favor equates to is salvation. All right. And we're going to show you that through the spirit, power, and mercy and grace of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. And again, that favor, that mercy, that grace, that salvation is only going to come to the elect. All right. And again, as Esau and even our own people, people close to us, as we get closer and closer to salvation, start to blame us and, chump up charges against us, accusations or what have you. At the end of the day, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai is going to justify us, man, if we're part of the elect. As scripture say, when you go to, let me get this real quick. Bear with me, my allergies are bothering me. Bear with me, Akiyam and Akwaf. Let me see here. Here we go. The book of Romans, right? Chapter 8 and verse 33. And it reads, who shall lay anything to the charge of God's elect? And there's a question mark there. And the answer to that question is nobody, man. Look it. It is Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai that justifieth, man. Now, when you get this in the in the Good News Bible, it says this. The book of Romans, chapter 8, in verse 33, and it reads, who will accuse Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's chosen people? Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai himself declares them not guilty, man. See that, man? So ultimately, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is going to what? He's going to justify his elect, bro. No matter how unfair it gets. All right? Esau's going to be using that CGI, in efforts to bring forth scenarios and events, right? And place Jake at the scene of the crime. All right, you know, there's AI, what is it? Face recognition, right? AI face recognition, which a lot of the time is wrong, you know. But Esau is going to be using that, right? He's going to use that to accuse, you know, those are the elect, right? And this is the reality of the story. Let me see. I just want to get something real quick that just came to mind. I believe it's in Luke 18. Let me see something real quick. Bear with me. Let me see here. Oh, here we go. The book of Luke chapter 18, right, in verse 8, and it reads this. I tell you, and this is red letter, this is Yahweh Shai speaking, all right? We're going to start at verse 7. This is Yahweh Shai speaking, right? This came to mind to back up that Romans 8, right? Luke 18 and 7. And shall not power avenge his own elect, okay, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them, bro. Okay? And again, at the end of the day, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to justify his elect. And yeah, you know, it may seem like it's taken a long time, you know, because understand this. Our time, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, he's on a different frequency. Okay? He's on a different frequency, man. A day to the Lord is 1,000 years to us. Okay? He's on a totally different frequency. And if you're tapped in, and if you're measuring the times through prophecy, whether it be a man of the Lord or a faithful believer, man, woman, or child, you can clearly see we there. We at the end. We're close. We're very, very, very close, man. You know, but just understand this. It's not going to be fair. All right? Evil ease persecution of the church. All right? It's going to come with a lot of deception, false accusation. Okay? And it's not going to be fair. Simple as that. And that's the reality of the story, though. That's how the process must. This is how it must happen, right? In efforts for, you know, prophecy to be fulfilled, right? And the Lord's will be done. Look it. I tell you that he will avenge them speedily, man. Okay? Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? And the answer to that question is yes. And the only ones that are going to be standing in that faith is going to be the elect. All right? Starting with the men of the Lord. That 144. Okay? And then the innumerable multitude that believes the report, which is the elect. This is where faith is going to be found. All right? Which is what's going to justify the elect. They're wired to believe. You know, they're wired to walk through the fire, man, praising the Lord every step of the way. Okay? Let's go here. Let's go to Revelations real quick. To pretty much stand on that point real quick. Revelation 14. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to get that word favor too. But let me get this real quick. The book of Revelation chapter 14. And I'm going to start from verse 1. We'll read down to the point. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion with Yahweh Shai, right? And with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads, man. And this is the first fruits. Matter of fact, let me get this in bear with me, Aki. Let me get this in the NLT. Right? It says this, Revelations 14:1, and it reads, Then I saw the Lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him were 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written on their foreheads, man. Because ultimately, to get to the Father, you got to go through the Son. Yahweh Shai is the way, the truth, and the life, man. The only way to get to the Father is through him. He's the door. You see? So the elect having the name of the Father and Son's name on their forehead means what? They have the understanding. Okay? The 144, that's part of the governing body. They understand the will of the Lord. Okay? They're bringing forth the king's report to the beloved sheep. You see? They have the airtight understanding, the airtight doctrine. All right? They're going to bring forth the reality of the scriptures in its truest veracity, bro. All right? Now let's continue reading. I'm actually going to jump back into the KJV, right? Revelation 14:2. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the four beasts. And it was the new song, it's the old song. Right? That song of Moses. Look. And the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth, bro. You see? So the men of the Lord, the true men of the Lord, all right, have been granted access to the door of utterance. They've been opened up, all right, to the reality of the scriptures. All right, the elect men have the mind of Mashiach. Right? Look at. These are they which were not defiled with woman, which this is talking to philosophies, right? Woman can be likened unto philosophies, right? Very different doctrines. Look, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. See that? See that? So the true men of the Lord are not going to defile themselves with other doctrines. They're not going to be linking up, all right, hip to hip with the Nation of Islam, all right? No, they're not going to be doing things like that, bro. They're not going to be linking up with various Israelite congregations that don't believe in the same doctrine. The true men of the Lord are not going to be doing that. The scriptures say, all right, that the men of the Lord, the watchmen, they see what? They see eye to eye. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I believe that's in the book of, let me see something real quick. Isaiah, the 52nd chapter, real quick. In verse 8, and it reads, thy watchmen shall lift up the voice, right? The watchmen being the men of the Lord, right? The seers, right? The servants, the prophets, the ambassadors. Look at the watchmen shall lift up the voice, right? With the voice together shall they sing, right? That new song, which is an old song, right? Which evolves around the doctrine. Look, that one true doctrine. For they shall see eye to eye. Okay? When the Lord Yahweh shall bring again Zion. So the watchmen are going to see eye to eye. All the men of the Lord, you know, are going to see eye to eye. The doctrine they're going to be singing the same song. All right? The men, again, going back to that Revelations 14 in verse 4, right? It tells us what? That these are they which were not defiled with woman. Okay? For they are virgins. They are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, man. So the men of the Lord are going to be locked in. Lock, stock, and barrel. They're not going to be linking up with other various individuals that don't teach the same doctrine. That don't believe the MOTB is the RFID microchip, the device the size of a grain of rice. All right? They're not going to be linking up hip to hip with individuals that clearly sold out, all right, and clearly have different understanding when it comes to the scriptures, that believe the heathen can be saved, that believe God loves everybody. Nah, man. Anyway, let's continue on. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto power and to the Lamb. And here's the point. And in their mouth was found no guile, no lies, right? Just the unadulterated truth, right? Whether you hear or forbear, right? For they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And I brought this up to make the point. Regardless of how much accusations Esau and the rest of these individuals that come up against this ministry, jump up against us towards the end, the elect are going to be blameless, man. Blameless before the throne, bro. Faultless before the throne of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. Okay, why? Because the elect, Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. The Lord's favor is going to rest upon them, man. Let me get this word favor real quick in etymology. In Etymolina online real quick. When you get this word favor, it goes to what? Right under a noun. Let's see here. Approval, praise, partiality, right? Look at goodwill, support, to show kindness, which that ties in with mercy, right? To honor, revere, worship, right? You look at goodwill, regard. Down at the bottom it says meaning, thing given as a mark of favor. Thing given as a mark of favor. That reminds me of Ezekiel 9, right? The Tawah, the mark of exemption from judgment. It all ties into that favor, which is going to rest upon the elect. Look at, under a verb, look at, to regard with favor, indulge, treat, partiality, favor. And it pretty much says the same thing. You see that? But it all ties back to that favor, which is mercy, right? Which is going to rest upon his elect. Let me get this real quick in the Apocrypha. What is that? I think that's Sirach 47, maybe? And 22? Yep. The book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, chapter 47. I'll go back to the point in verse 22. But the Lord will never leave off his mercy, neither shall any of his works perish. Neither will he abolish the posterity of his elect. In the seed of him that loveth him, he will not take away. Seed going back to sperma, going back to bloodline, which is going to lead you to where? Wherefore he gave a remnant unto Jacob. That remnant, that elect. All right, that grape cluster he preserved, bro. Right? Look, and out of him a root unto David, bro. We're just talking to Yahweh Shai, bro. You see that? So the Lord's favor is going to rest upon the elect, bro. Okay? That bloodline, that elect, they're not gonna be some way, somehow, replaced. You got this replacement theology, in the form of this, Renaissance form of Christianity. Nah, man, the Yahweh Shai didn't come to change anything the Lord Yahweh had already established, man. He didn't come to change any of that, man. Okay? Yahweh Shai was sent in efforts to what? Allow, ultimately, the elect to be granted back access to the Lord. Because it all starts with the elect on this side, man. Okay? The 2/3 are going to be brought back in the kingdom through the elect. You see? That's why Yahweh Shai said in John 17, what? He said he prays for them. Speaking about his men, right? The servants, the prophets, and the elect. But not for the world, bro. That word there is cosmos, just like in John 3:16, which is talking to Israel. See? So it all starts with the elect. Their favor is going to rest upon the elect, which that favor is going to equal what? As we mentioned at the beginning of the lesson, salvation, man. And here, I'm going to prove it right here with this precept that I had came across through the Spirit when I was going through the scriptures. But needless to say, Salaki Akiyabalak, my allergies are bothering me. So bear with me. All right? The book of Psalms, chapter 106. We'll close out here. In verse 4, it reads this. Remember me O Lord Yahweh, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. O visit me with thy salvation, man. Okay? And Lord willing, Abba Ratazah, we are of that elect, man. And we're remembered. Okay? Yahweh Bashim Shai, he turns back and remembers us, man. Abba Ratazah, bro. And we're part of the elect, he will. You know? And this is what we're striving to be part of, man. You know, and ultimately we understand it's all about predestination. But the scriptures tell us to put on, therefore, as the elect. Yahweh Shai told us himself to strive to enter through the straight gate, bro. All the elect are going to have to fight. All right? At the end of the day, none of us know if we're part of the elect, man. It's going to be a fight. Right? So you already know, hey, Lord willing, you beloved Akiab and Akwaf were edified. Hey, Abba Ratazah, you were spiritually fed through the spirit, power, mercy, and grace of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Hey, Lord willing, we receive the Lord's favor, man. Keep fighting. You may fall from time to time. Understand that's part of the process. All right? You must fall. All right? In efforts to ultimately grow. You know? But Lord willing, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai allows us to continue to flourish, you know, within his courts. And Abba Ratazah, we're deemed worthy, all right, to take part in that first resurrection, Lord willing. Hey, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha, Kwadash. Hey, double honors to the beloved elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Hey, till next time, beloved Akiab and Akwaf. Till next time, hey, Shalom.